Dream Scenario isn't just a horror movie about dreams. It's a psychological horror about attention. A perfect mirror of today's world and what happens when society decides you matter for no reason at all. Paul Matthews doesn't become famous because he's special or anything like that. The reason is much simpler. He becomes famous because he's everywhere. And as we've seen time and time again, once attention chooses you, you don't really get to choose what it turns you into. Dream Scenario is a 2023 psychological satire directed by Christopher Borgli, known for exploring obsession, identity, and modern social anxiety. The film stars Nicolas Cage as Paul Matthews, a quiet, uninteresting, and socially awkward biology professor whose face begins appearing in the dreams of millions of people around the world. The film also co-stars Julianne Nicholson as Janet, his wife, and Lily Bird as Sophie, alongside Jessica Clement as Hannah, their two daughters, all of whom are forced to deal with the real-world consequences of Paul's sudden and inexplicable fame. What starts as a strange, even magical curiosity quickly turns into something far more unsettling. The movie never gives us a scientific or supernatural explanation for why Paul appears in people's dreams. And that's intentional, because the dreams themselves aren't the point. What matters is how people react to them. Paul appears in various people's dreams worldwide and does absolutely nothing. He doesn't attack, he doesn't help. He just exists. Sometimes standing in a corner with a blank expression, sometimes walking by completely oblivious to whatever weird stuff is going on, as is usually the case with dreams. The world goes nuts. Paul becomes a symbol. A blank one, though. And when something has no clear meaning, society fills in the gaps. Paul believes he's a good person, as most of us usually do, right? But throughout the film, he avoids responsibility. He doesn't take action in dreams. He doesn't take control of his public image when he goes viral. And he doesn't challenge how others define him. He wants recognition, but not confrontation. The movie quietly suggests that passivity is not the same as neutrality. Doing nothing still creates consequences, especially when millions of people are watching. At a certain point, the dreams change. Paul becomes threatening, violent, horrifying. People all over the planet are now terrified of him. He's now the reason they wake up screaming in the middle of the night. But, however, nothing about him in real life has changed. What's changed is public emotion. The dreams turn hostile when society becomes uncomfortable with him. Paul becomes overexposed, ubiquitous, unavoidable. And when something is everywhere but meaningless, the human mind will turn it into a threat. The dreams reflect fear, not prophecy, but the people don't see it that way. Paul's rise mirrors internet fame perfectly. At first, he's interesting, he's harmless, he's new. Then, brands get involved. The audience wants more. Expectations form. Eventually, and dare I say predictably, the backlash arrives. Paul never did anything meaningful to earn his status. And so when this happens, he cannot defend it. The same attention that elevated him completely destroys him. By the end of the film, Paul is no longer part of the dream phenomenon. He's become irrelevant. The world has moved on. His final attempt at connection is artificial, mediated, simulated, transactional. This is the ultimate irony. When Paul finally wants to be meaningful, no one is looking anymore. The dreams didn't ruin his life. They exposed how disposable identity has become. Dream Scenario isn't asking what it would feel like to be famous overnight. It's asking something much darker. What happens when the world sees you, but never actually knows you? And once attention decides you're finished, there's no explanation. You just disappear. This is Scopeak, where films aren't just watched, they're understood. Feel free to let us know in the comments what your favorite psychological horror thriller is.